Hello and welcome to Leave the Feed 30 Days of Disconnect. Today is day 6. Time to log off, a special time in this journey where we put our social media apps to the side and we really focus on a reconnection. And right now, joining us is Nila Makhfi. Nila, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be chatting with you.
I'm excited to be chatting with you. You actually wrote the words of encouragement for this section of the book, so it's an honor to have you sitting in with me today. And to get started, let's talk about your journey as a human in the world of digital creation. Like, how did all of this unfold for you?
Of course. I have always been very passionate about storytelling and taking videos. I remember when I was a little kid, like around 10 years old, me and my cousin would always just put an iPad, press record, and then play music with our iPods and kind of act to it, dance to it. And I always look back at those videos too because it was way before Musically or any of these apps that were out, but we still just love that concept of recording ourselves and making content ultimately. So yeah, I started then I had my own social media pages, would post a lot, but I started to love the whole process of editing and putting music behind videos and collages and telling a story with that. So I would post a lot from different experiences that I had. Then I started college and I got pretty involved with different organizations and I would do social media for them. So I would always be the person making the videos from the events. And when I was at UCLA, I actually reached out to Dylan to see if we can expand Reach, which is a social media organization, to UCLA. So there we brought together an amazing team and we launched that organization, but we had a whole community of creators. So being surrounded by that too, I started to post more because we would do a lot of brand partnerships and we would get the opportunity to make content for brands. So yeah, and now I'm just working on my own content. I post mostly on LinkedIn actually. Like that's a platform that I'm pretty active on, and it's just expressing yourself and your story and putting it out into the world because you never know who it's going to resonate with. So I think every time you hit post, it's kind of like a mystery that will unravel, I guess.
So tell me about your time at Reach and getting involved with the creator community. And what did you love about, and what do you love about being a creator and being involved in that community?
Of course, I feel like when I went to it, I actually had no clue what I was doing. So the summer before we started Reach, I interned at Snapchat. And after that, I thought I had the perfect resume to heavily get involved with school organizations. And I actually started to get rejected by just applying to be on the leadership board of clubs at UCLA. So that was definitely a stage that was very worrisome for me. But coincidentally, I came across USC Reach on my TikTok For You page. And I was like, wow, this is such a cool club. Like, what are they doing? They're on a photo shoot together. So that's when I went to my roommate and I was like, guys, what if we reached out and said if we could expand Reach to UCLA? So we did, contacted Dylan. They loved the idea. We expanded the organization. And in the beginning, we didn't even know what our programming would entail. So we just kept on going back to Dylan, seeing what are brands that we can work with? How can we bring the creators together? But we realized that there's just a wide range of micro to macro influencers on these college campuses. And a lot of the micro influencers are always looking for opportunities as well. So I remember our first collaboration was with a local restaurant called Tuck. And we basically said, is there any way that you can host 30 of us, which are all content creators, and give us free food in exchange of all of us posting about it and storying about it? And the thing is, when you get 30 influencers in the same spot, they're also going to be making content together. So I remember after the event, there was just so many different versions and so many different angles of the event that we were able to capture, and each person was telling the story of the event in such a different way that was super interesting to me. And it just made me realize that there's such a huge opportunity here to work with a lot of different brands, create opportunities for these creators, and yeah, the space for them to capture the content but also allow it to be valuable for brands. So Yeah, that's how I got involved. Then after the 2 years, I started grad school at USC. Coincidentally, they were looking for a new board, and I applied to lead that organization as well, so got pretty involved with the USC influencers as well. And yeah, it's definitely super interesting to see how each of them has such different niches and how they get different partnerships, they get different opportunities based on the type of content that they're making.
That's awesome. I know we talk about in this podcast a lot with all of the guests. Obviously, social media is not the enemy, it's an asset in today's world. And to be involved in storytelling for yourself with brands, collaborations is beautiful. I mean, that's what life is all about to create. We're all bringing something into this world, right? Now, within that, no matter what you're creating, whether it's in the digital world or the physical world, we all deal with stress. We all deal with challenges in our mind. And for you, what were some of the challenges with social media in terms of your mental health or well-being or just wellness? And then how did you make adjustments over your experience working within the digital category to sort of minimize those challenges?
Definitely. I mean, I think it really ties into mental health. I actually come from a psychology background, so I highly recognize the impact of social media on mental health. For me, it became that, as I'm scrolling, I'm seeing all these people do all these different things that aligned with my passions. So I wanted to do all these different things that people are doing. But then and because I was just like seeing all this content, it became overwhelming. But then I realized I'm one person continuously seeing so many different stories and want to tie that all into my one life. And that just doesn't work with like timing, with responsibilities, duties. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I realized that each person is just pushing out their own story, and when we are the people that are consuming all of it at once, it just might make us feel that we're not doing enough. But if we just focus on our own story and see all that we're accomplishing, see like what our day to day looks like, and focusing on that, that's how I was able to transition out of that like comparison mindset, which obviously still continues to come on as well. Right now, as I mentioned, I'm most active on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a platform where everyone shares their accomplishments, like when they got a new job, when they got a new role and are gaining a new experience. That's a highlight. But I'm started to be in this algorithm, which is all about like founders building out in the open. So they are sharing the ups and downs. And I love being in that algorithm because it's like, yes, there are the highs, but there's also the lows. And just engaging with each other's like content on that and supporting each other on that has been super fulfilling, which is why I started Linked Up, which is this organization that brings together LinkedIn creators so they can meet in person, talk about different personal brands that they are building, and also get familiar with each other because of the face to face interactions and support each other's content. So, yeah, it's still very in the preliminary stages, but after hosting one event, we actually got super positive traction. And we're hoping to host more events with brands and creators.
You know, I saw on LinkedIn that you had hosted that event and it warmed my heart. I thought this is so beautiful. Like online to offline, this is what Reconnection's all about. And tell me about like the experience that you had in that meetup versus what exists in the digital space. Like what was different about it?
I mean, so just putting together that invite list was literally people's content that I see and I love and I enjoy. So it didn't matter how many followers they had. It was more about like, are they putting themselves out there and sharing their story? So meeting them in like real life, even though again, no one's like that famous or anything, I felt like so excited and like starstruck in a way. But it was just so amazing seeing like the community come together and just share their stories personally because there was new questions that came up and like there were new points that of like resonating with each other. Let's say stuff that's not on your LinkedIn, but it's more about like past or like where you've lived before, or like if you have a sibling, maybe that's not often shared on LinkedIn, but those were points of like mutuality that brought people together too. And that's the thing. When I did the event, I didn't tell anyone to post about the event. But afterwards, it was just like everyone wanted to share how fulfilling the experience was because it was not something that had been like done before with that specific niche. Like there's events that are for creators, but LinkedIn is just such a unique platform where the creators are value they highly value educating their audience. All of the content is value driven and they are very intentional with what they post. So I think with all of those people being in an intimate setting of like 30 creators, but also getting the opportunity to meet each other and share their stories, it was actually super fulfilling for me. That's why I just want to continue hosting more because it just brings me joy, like seeing the conversations happen. And we also did do like a speed dating thing, which was like just networking, but you had to switch partners just to have the opportunity to get to meet everyone. And that was a huge success too. So yeah,
That's
you
so
should come
much
to the next
fun.
one.
I know. I will come to the next one for sure. I'm so excited
Yeah.
about it. And I'm ready to start actually getting back into LinkedIn. I've taken a long sabbatical from social media. Tell me about like your other social media channels and how do you use those and when do you disconnect from them? Like what frequency and when do you know like enough is enough when you get into like bad scrolling habits?
Yeah. It's just like, it's funny because you realize that you're just scrolling a lot and then you just can't stop, which is also the crazy part. And sometimes, let's say I'm just at home and then I see like my mom scrolling so often or my brother, and then I see that they've sent me so many like reels to check out. I'm like, they took this much time to watch these reels and these are probably like selected to be sent to me. So just imagine how much more time like they are spending actually scrolling. It's really the For You page and your Explore page has really like mastered the content that you enjoy watching, which is super scary. But I mean, I spend a lot of time on Instagram. That's definitely a social media platform that I mostly use. And I love it because the story feature really allows you to like see what people around you are doing. But also, one thing that I do love about social media is the fact that you can keep in touch with your network. You know, like let's say maybe with a friend, I don't have the opportunity to talk on a daily or weekly basis, but by just seeing their stories and responding to them, I'm able to keep the connection and the friendship and kind of help that flourish. So that is one thing that I really do enjoy about social media. And again, even like it allows you to keep people top of mind. Like someone you see is like working on a film project and you know that one of your other friends is interested in getting into one, you kind of like start connecting the dots. Where I think if social media wasn't there, that would be so hard to do. But yeah, so with that being said, I spend a lot of time on Instagram, but it's more of like an intimate space. And like, I really share what is like true to me, whatever I feel like. Sometimes I like story a lot if I'm at an event. Sometimes I don't story at all about it. It also really depends on like what stage of life that you're at. For example, a couple months ago, I wasn't at a good mental state. So I was not posting content at all. And I'm still like just transitioning back. But I think a lot of people are now just fully deactivating their Instagrams, right? I have never done that before. I've thought about it, but I don't think I've hit that like unhealthy stage that I'm like I don't want to post, but also with the career field that I'm in, it's very important to stay updated with the trends and also see what brands are doing, see what creators are doing. So, one struggle that I've noticed that I've had is like, how do I disconnect my work in social media with my personal social media consumption? And yeah, but I also really do like Snapchat because it's a very like it's a space that if you want to consume more content, you can on Spotlight and everything, but just the opportunity to share content like one-on-one with the people in your network and it being so in the moment, it's so like I don't like using the word authentic, but it is authentic. And I just think I even like got my mom to get on Snapchat when I was a college student because I wanted to send her in the moment content. So yeah, I think between LinkedIn, Snapchat, and Instagram is like those would be my top three social media platforms currently.
Now, today's day 6. It's all about logging off. And you wrote in the book, I think you talked about, studying and for an exam and getting rid of distractions. And you said it was just for a brief moment of time, but this new world opened up, right? And when you do log off from social media and think of yourself as the subject and you as the researcher, what do you notice about yourself What do you notice about the world around you when you're not beholden to social media, even if that social media is providing you with connection in the business world and helping grow, your prominence as a creator?
100%. I think it's very important to like disconnect to connect. Like that really resonated with me because sometimes like I'm literally just sitting with family too, and then I find myself on my phone and I'm like, this is such a pure, intimate moment that we have as a family together. Like, why am I distracting myself with being on my phone? So let's say whenever we're eating food or whenever we're watching movies, like we always put our phones away because it's that distraction. Also, even if you're just talking to someone and they're holding a phone, that also leads to a little disconnect. Like if a person has fully their phone away and you guys are just speaking with no technology around you, there's a different level of connection versus if someone even is holding a phone because of that like potential for distraction. So I think it's just very important to know when to log off. And let's say during the day, we have so much work that we're on computers. Like it doesn't count with us being on social media, but we have these digital distractions that I do think when it comes to just spending some time for yourself, you need to dedicate those hours a day where you fully disconnect. Like I know even when I go on a run in the morning sometimes, it's hard because I want to listen to music with my phone, but I also don't want to even have like a technology like around me because I want to just fully take in nature and like seeing my surroundings. It's really about like knowing who you are and what like distracts you or what allows you to fully like be involved with the moments around you because the good thing is like the capturing the moments, right? Like I love taking pictures because it's like you're in a moment and you want to be able to like cherish it for a long time. And so like having a phone around and just capturing moments is very special. But when you do it too much that it takes away of you fully being present, it's honestly sad, and I've been a victim of it too myself, but I think as I go on and I hear people are deactivating their platforms and like there's so many apps now that you can use to like disconnect. I know one, I haven't tried it. It's called Be Present, and it basically like reverses the psychology behind how you're brought onto like the platforms. I haven't used it yet, so I can use it and I'll definitely let you know how it works. But the fact that I'm like even getting the ads for a platform like that, I think they're targeting people that are like using it so much.
Right.
So yeah, it really makes you like step back and yeah, want to like just be more in the moment, which is also again why the IRL events are so big right now. Because when you're in person, it's not like you can be at a networking event and just be on your phone. Like you see everyone is chatting with each other. You see everyone is like trying to get to know each other. So that just pushes you to do that too. And I think like that's the new wave. Like that's the new cool. Like being in person, connecting IRL. Like we're done with the whole pandemic stage that we had, which really brought us more into our phones. So like how can we find new ways, whether if it's a run club or like an organization that brings together like creators to form intimate connections, like how can we build those connections in person?
Do you feel when you're with groups of people in the physical world trying to meet in real life that there's still a tension of someone bringing out their phone and then other people doing some behavioral mirroring of also grabbing their phones? And I know we're going through this transition of like, yeah, we were so deep in the pandemic, we all learned some good behaviors and bad behaviors, and like switching out of those bad behaviors into the good behaviors and finding that balance of when do I want to create a story? When do I want to know more depth about your story? What's that like?
Yeah, I think you definitely like, if a person is going on their phone, like I remember I was just chatting with a friend and then I got on a call and I noticed like they just went and scrolled on their social media, right? Like once you see the person in front of you is distracted with being on their phones, like you automatically go in that space too. And so I know like there's some events that like don't even allow for phones. So you're fully just like locked in person and present. But I think again, it goes back to knowing yourself, which a lot of people like we're in such transitionary stages because at one point, like phones didn't define our lives and like our jobs and our roles. But right now it's like you have to maybe go on meetings, then you have to message like your coworkers, then you have to then like you get a notification on Instagram and then you want to go on it. So it's like it kind of has integrated into our lives so like naturally and it's so evident that I think it's hard to avoid it. But I think it's also important to set boundaries. So if a person is like really looking to disconnect, like maybe mentioning this to their coworkers and to the people that they work with. And I like people are flexible. Like at the end of the day, people are like just humans. They have a heart. They want the best for each other ultimately. So I feel like even if a person is really aiming for that, just sharing about it because it could one motivate the others around them to like try it out too. Like I remember when my friend was mentioning that like she's deactivating her Instagram. Like it does bring up thoughts in my head, like, what if I did it? Like, what if I took a break? How long would that take? What would that entail for me as, like, being so involved in social media for a job? However, I think just, like, sharing this and being open to like being vulnerable about why you're doing this is important because it can inspire others around you too to one understand you better, but also like maybe it motivates them, maybe it's like that little push that they needed to take that leap and like give themselves a break from social media too. So yeah, ultimately I think it really impacts how we interact with each other when we have our social media around. But again, now going back to all these like in-person events, sometimes it just really doesn't feel natural, right? To like have your phone out when you're like talking to someone, when you're talking to a group. Like it's a natural instinct to put it away too. So I'm hoping that we see more of that. And so we're able to like fully connect.
Yeah, definitely. And it is a unique period of time because before the pandemic, there wasn't really an expectation to be on social media across all demographics and psychographics and jobs. And now it's almost like a prerequisite. It's like, do you have a podcast? What content are you putting out? How many followers do you have? It's becoming the norm. And when I first talked to Dylan about Leave the Feed a long time ago, he was like, in the future, a lot of people are just going to get completely judged on their social media following and platform and what they're putting out into the world in terms of content. And that might be true. And I think we all need to make sure that we are sharing good messages with the world and putting our stuff out there. However, it's important to log off and take a break. And there's people right now who are on day 6 of this 30-day journey, maybe looking for some inspiration to spend less time on social media. What words of encouragement would you have for them to keep this journey going on a critical moment when they are going to log off of their platforms?
Of course. So, I mean, if they're on day 6, that means they already did the hard part. I think just starting initially is extremely hard. So, yeah, like congrats, but also just like take in the journey and like the ups and downs. And also, like reflect back. I remember actually a couple of days ago, I was talking to my dad, and he was saying like the way that they used to even share like contact information, like 30 years ago was super different, which like obviously, but like we don't take a moment to reflect and pause and think of that. You know, we're just so in focus on this generation and how things work and how things are just so automatic and with like technology and digital media that we don't think back at like people used to live without phones, you know, and right now you're just like if you are doing this whole challenge, like you are getting to experience that, which is so rare in this generation that like that just puts you way ahead. So, if anything, if you are listening to this, like that's super inspiring to hear. And I'm sure if others hear your story, they would be super inspired because it takes a lot of courage to do something like that. And you also gain a whole new experience that like a lot of people in our generation don't have access to. So that just makes you very special and unique.
Thank you so much. It's super insightful. You've been an awesome guest. What's next for you in life? Like, what's next in your trajectory?
Yeah, I mean, it's like again very transitionary stage because I just finished up my grad school and I studied consumer psychology. So it definitely does tie into this whole new world as well. But right now, I am focused on different things. I really want to take Linked Up more seriously because just like the positive sentiment that I received afterwards was super fulfilling to me. And I've had so much experience like building creator communities and hosting these events. So if I can continue doing that, but also like bring in value and like education within it about how to build your personal brand. And because, as Dylan mentioned, it is super important in this generation because that's like something that you do get judged on, but it's like, how can you be supported in that process? Like, how can you know that you have like a group like engaging with your content and pushing you to like be better, but also like meeting them so like the journey of content creation and the ups and downs of it. So I definitely want to focus more on just bringing these creator communities together. Also, just seeking brand partnerships is super fulfilling because sometimes you get to host events and like get brands to collab that they would have never expected to collab. So it's just kind of like match all together, which is super fulfilling for me. Also, yeah, just like working in social media, now I've realized that I love making content, but I don't know how much I love making it when it's for just like stuff that are not too personal for me. So, having gained some experience like doing social media for different organizations has made me realize that I just want to step back a bit because when I was doing it so much for other people, it made me do it less for myself. And I love capturing content to be able to look back on. Like when I was in grad school, I did weekly diary recaps of my grad school experience. And that was literally for me to be able to look back on and to see like what my 1 year of like master's program entailed, right? In like 10 years, I'd love to see that because I know I'll forget it. But I think when I started to do it so much in my career for a job, it just became like not as fun anymore. So right now I'm just seeing what that would entail. Again, very transitionary stage for me. So maybe in like a couple months I would have a better answer for you, but I think I'm like gaining way more clarity right now working on a startup with my brother too. It's just a lot of moving pieces, but I know if I want something to succeed, I need to go 120% into it because the output would ultimately be so much better. So, yeah, definitely conquering a couple different projects, figuring it out because, if you like work in social media or marketing or just in this digital space, it's not like a straightforward path, right? People come from such different backgrounds, from such different experiences that you really need to pave your path in it. So, yeah, defining that slowly for myself, but just being surrounded by people like you who are doing such cool things has been super inspiring.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Thanks for being a guest.
Of course. Thank you, James.
And thank you for everyone listening. Stay the course, share, leave the feed with a friend, and don't be afraid to disconnect. Thank you.